Hello, welcome back to BLENDERSUSHI live noding. In this episode, we're gonna take a look at a simple topic. It's basically how we can create this kind of random gradients for many faces of polygons. Um, it seems pretty simple, but yeah, if you try to do this for many objects, it's not easy unless you are using like some kind of scripting or perhaps kind of clever nodes using cycles material. Um, yeah, so let's get started. The first of all, I have this trick question. If you have a plane like a box like this, um, just a square, how is the fastest way you can create a gradient? And we're gonna be using cycles. Okay, you might think that okay, perhaps you're gonna use a material and then you go to compositing and go to the material tab here, and then okay, you either use color ramp, but I think more correct way is to use gradient, right? And let's try gradient first. Plug that in and render, and we do have a gradient there. Let's turn on any ambient occlusion or just increase the strength here. Okay, so we do have gradient, but it's not like sometimes the gradient is not like perfectly 50% and 50%. I don't know what's the reason, but it could be because of my color management. Maybe I need to adjust this value or something until the gamma looks correct, like a 50% like this. Maybe I need to do that, or say let's say if we want to use a different color, we can change it like that and have our gradient. So that's probably the fastest way that you can do manually. There's actually another way that's actually a little bit can be a little bit faster. It depends. If you have okay, start with a square plane again, and then you go switch to cycles, go to compositing, give it a material, and now let's take a look. If you actually go to vertex painting and you give it a color, like let's say we want a red to blue gradient, just giving red color on those two vertices and then another two on this side, you will actually get this perfectly 50% gradient. Let's use an attribute and call and plug into this guy and increase the color. So you see this color is more perfectly transitioning from red to blue. Is I don't know how to explain this, but yeah, this is I think a little bit faster. If you want to do a ramp, you can actually go back here and then give it a different color. And if you want like 4-color gradient, you can easily do that this way. So based on this fact, we can actually do something with Sverchok. Yeah, we're gonna be using Sverchok today. Don't be afraid, it's not gonna be hard. It's actually pretty trivial and pretty fun. So let's start from scratch. File, save as. This is Sverchok gradient. We know the fact that if we are using this node base, it's gonna be easy for us to do a lot of random gradient. We will see a bit later, but you have to deal with number a little bit. So if we create a plane, whoops, actually Blender just decided to crash. I'll quickly reopen Blender. It's I think it's the side effects of using nodes. Just kidding, I think it's my computer. You see the wallpaper is I think it comes with MacBook Pro. I think this is also using a lot of gradient, even though it's more subtle. So let's wait. Cool. File, open SV gradient. We start from nothing, and we're gonna use plane, and we're gonna use just bmesh mk2 right away. So this guy will generate a plane, okay, just as a square plane. And if you want multiple plane, we can do that. Probably we can do that a bit later, but we will do it anyway. This is the plane only have 4 vertices. That's very important. If you have more vertices, then it's gonna be slightly different. This vertices goes into that guy. So now we have 4 planes. Now we have 4 planes, and we have how many? 4 by 4, 16 vertices that we need to color using Sverchok. So this guy generate the squares, and we have the second one, colorize square. And the one we're gonna use for this is the Vertex Color. Vertex Color new. And our object is gonna be that guy. This is what is it called? Oh, actually we have 4 different polygon. We don't want that. We go back to this guy and we want to merge it. So now we have only a single object. Back to this guy, and let's select our objects, alpha 0. And of course, if you already saw me using this node in the previous live noding, you have the vertex mode where you are coloring each vertices, and you have phase mode, and you have loop mode. And I'm gonna do a quick review on that. Basically, I need to prepare also the cycle material for this guy. New, okay, new material, and then this guy, just use emission to keep things simple. Emission, plug into that guy, and use the coloring here. Let's check if we already have vertex data, vertex color data. We don't have it yet, so we need to generate some random color. Let's use random vector for now, just random value. And we should have Sverchok now. Go to attribute and go to Sverchok. Now we should have color if we render it out. So random color being generated, and exactly what you get, what you expect. They're not quite a gradient. They're not very clean at the moment. Just pretty random. Sometimes you do have like you have black here and black and red and red. That's why you have these like stripes. I think vertex color is very interesting because it if you are doing like a GLSL or open shading language, you kind of need to understand this really, really well. So vertex is not exactly what we want. Phase is not what we want either. But this is really cool because you can just colorize the face. And what's happening here is for each polygon face, you are getting one color. So that's really important in this case. And that works because these objects have just a single face, and it just works right away. Sometimes you don't always get that if you have multiple faces per shell. There's one that I really like, is this loop, because loop will always give you gradient, and no matter what, it's gonna look quite interesting. This thing will actually try to match the corner, so you have this diagonal gradient. And for what we are doing, we actually want sort of like a vertical or horizontal gradient to make it simpler, but we can randomize the color. So it's really simple, but it's sometimes the simple thing is actually hard to create, a little bit hard, and you need to think a little bit. So like I said, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 4 by 4, 16 vertices to color. We have this 16 random color. We're not gonna use random color. I don't think. We're just gonna use random number generator. Just keep it even simpler. Vector in. So we have 1, 2, 3 value going in as a color. We're gonna need 16 of them. So 1, 2, 3, make 16 of them, and we randomize the seed. And then now we, okay, it should be float. It's the value should be between 0 and 1 for this RGB color. And then let's see if I'm missing anything. Okay, so we have 16 color, and for if you want the gradient to go like a horizontal or vertical, we need to ensure that the colors kind of repeating. So for every 4 vertices, the first 2 color or the first or the last 2 color needs to match. So we need to do list repeat. So first of all, I'm gonna use text viewer and gonna check our color. So very quickly we can check the color. That's our RGB color. So like you can see here, like that RGB need to be repeated in order for us to get the gradient. So okay, how do we do that? Maybe using list repeater. Let's have a look. Plug the data there and then plug in there and check it out. No, it's not gonna work like this. Maybe level 2. No. Oh, actually we need to increase the repeat. Okay, so that's kind of correct. So not level 1, because level 1 is gonna repeat the whole list of number. Level 2 actually kind of does it, because it's now looking at each item in the list and doing a repeat. You can actually repeat it like 4 times, and now it's gonna give the same color for this polygon, for quad face, because it's 4 vertices. This will actually give a same color. If we plug this guy in, it's not gonna work. Unwrap. So unwrap actually seems to be working. So perhaps we just use 2 number and then check it out. No, doesn't seem to work. So yeah, there's just a little bit strange thing happening from this data into that guy. So we need to use list join. I guess this is gonna make it work. Okay, so join list 2, and then now we can check the data. Okay, now we get what we need. So previously the data looks like this. It's kind of this list and this list kind of separated. Now if we join them together, now become a single list. We have like 32 lists of data. We actually need only like half of this number. 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 16. We actually only need 8, and it's gonna work. Let's randomize the red. Currently I found that if I scrub the color totally disappear. That's probably a little bit of bugs in Sverchok. Yeah, I don't know why, but I think that might be fixed at some point. But if I change the color here in the seed, that's working fine. So with the seed, 1, 2, 3, I think I'm gonna use integer, and then gonna use math. So 1, 2, 3. This is kind of gonna be like it's for the seed. We just need to give like a random value here. It's kind of the offset of all this seed value. 1, 2, and 3. And I'm gonna highlight this. So that's the offset. That's why we can get this all randomness. And this is the number, the total number. Total number of vertices divided by 2. So we have 8. Okay, so we're pretty much done here. It's almost complete with our setup. Maybe we want to have more square, or maybe play with the color a little bit. It's very interesting once you go kind of random, find the color you like from all this gradient. If we go back to generate square here, and let's make like 10 by 10, 100. So we have 100 squares now, and we want different gradient. We can do that very easily just by changing this. So currently we don't have enough data, of course. 100 divided by 2 is 50, and okay, apparently it's not 100, it's actually 400, because it's a 100 square times 4 vertices, 400 divided by 2, so we need 200. Okay, that's much better. For the background, let's give it just white color. There's actually there's a famous internet artist that's I think he appears in TED Talk at some point, and then one of his artwork looks like this, and he's selling his artwork as a website. I forgot his name, but I think he's a probably Italian guy, or I don't know, I can't remember. So his work is consisting of just gradient like this, and then it's very high resolutions. But I think he is using maybe like either Java programming or like a shader language for the web, and it looks exactly like this, I think. Let's make this guy appear as an input. Let's name it seed offset. Plug into this guy. Go to Sverchok here, scan for numbers. Okay, we actually can randomize here. This number we shouldn't change, it's 200. But we can randomize the seed and randomize the red, green, and blue value. So I thought this was pretty cool. It's probably harder if you script this using Python. You can definitely do that, and then that's kind of a fun exercise in itself. But doing it with nodes is a lot simpler, and yeah, thanks to all these nodes, it's so useful. In fact, let's generate more square. Generate it in X, so that's gonna look more interesting. 180 times 4. Now I need to use calculator. We have 180 times the vertices divided by 2, 360. So we need 360 color. Okay, we have our gradient, just like that, just like magic. And you have this unlimited variation of gradient. You can currently it doesn't work with the frame number, unfortunately. Again, it's a bug, but it works here. So if you make animated GIF or render it out frame by frame like this, and this is like a really nice gradient because you go really close, it doesn't have any bending. It's gonna resample each time it renders, and you have a really smooth gradient. And you just look at this, and then it's kind of giving you kind of inspiration, right? I thought this is kind of neat. Yeah, I'm gonna stay for a few seconds here and then look at the gradients. Gradient is so simple, but it's so fascinating. If you like colors, especially, I don't know, maybe color is one of the things that attract me apart from shapes. Oh, it's very basic, but still. I'm gonna take a snapshot real quick. Wait a few seconds. Snapshot for this video, live noding video. Okay, that's pretty much it for this live noding. If you have any question, suggestion, feedback, please let me know down below. Yeah, this is pretty much it for this